I'm Amy. Today I'm here to talk to you about fruit and vegetable smoothies. I'm going to cover why you should be drinking fruit and vegetable smoothies, why they're the perfect breakfast for busy parents, an easy formula that will help you make a great smoothie every time, and then I'm going to share one of my favorite recipes that uses frozen broccoli. Don't tell. So first and foremost, the benefit of fruit and vegetable smoothies is that they have an awesome balance of both flavor and nutrition. Fruit smoothies can sometimes be a little bit too much on the sweet side, and vegetable smoothies, I mean, there's a reason you don't hear about them that often. They just don't have the sweetness that you crave when you're going to drink something in a high volume. So the awesome thing about smoothies is that they're really freaking easy, and they're so good for busy parents. Often when I say they're great for busy parents, you guys will think, oh yeah, they'd be great to give my kid in a busy morning, which they are, but also they're great for you as busy parents. It took almost 2 months of eating my kids' leftovers for breakfast, and by the way, healthy eating is what I talk about all the time, to realize that that wasn't serving me. And so that's how I started making fruit and vegetable smoothies, and why I wanted to write a post and make a video and put together a guide to help you enjoy fruit and vegetable smoothies that are really easy as well. So one of the things about keeping smoothies nice and easy is that if your goal is to make an easy breakfast, you shouldn't have to have all kinds of fresh things on hand, because grocery shopping can be a challenge, especially when you have kids at home. So I like to make my fruit and vegetable smoothies with just frozen fruits and vegetables, with the exception of bananas. If you can find pre-frozen bananas, that's fantastic. I haven't found them too much, although Trader Joe's has some frozen plantains. So what I like to do is just buy a big old bunch of bananas, flying bananas, a big old bunch of bananas, let them get pretty ripe, and then put them into a large gallon-sized Ziploc bag and freeze them this way. I get all kinds of questions from people who are like, well, could I just throw them in the freezer like this? And the answer is yeah, kind of, but the peel gets really brown when it goes straight in the freezer, and it's also almost impossible to actually peel. So I've done this before when we were going on vacation, and you actually have to take like a paring knife and peel it off, and if easy is our goal, then throwing bananas in whole, while easier on the front end, is harder on the back end. So we're just gonna peel these bunches of bananas. So some of the other frozen fruit and vegetable basics that I keep on hand are frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries, mango, frozen broccoli, and kale if you can find it. And I've even been playing around with frozen cauliflower in my smoothies. And all of this is available in my smoothie guide if you're interested. Also on the post that I'll link to below, there is a really cool infographic with all kinds of ideas on combinations that you can make. Also in the vein of keeping it simple, I just use almond milk. You can use any milk or milk alternative that you prefer, but if you like a tartar smoothie, you may prefer to use something like a touch of orange juice instead, and that's gonna give you that tartness that you get at like Jamba Juice, let's say. So here's my bag of ripe bananas. These are all gonna go in the freezer. If I just kind of lay them flat, they will get a little bit more brown looking, but if I lay them flat, they'll freeze separately, and then I can easily pull one out every day that I go to make a smoothie. So the final tip I wanna give you about making fruit and vegetable smoothies is there's actually a surefire formula that you can use to make all of the combinations that you prefer based on the nutrients that you want and the flavors that you really love. So here's my formula. Shh, don't tell anyone, this is a secret. Okay, to make a serving of 2 smoothies, which I like to do because then it can go to 2 adults in your household for a nice morning breakfast, or say 2 adult and the second one can be split between 2 kids, that sort of thing, you get the idea. I use 1 frozen banana. You can use fresh if you don't have frozen. So 1 frozen banana, 2 cups of fruit, 1 cup of frozen vegetable, and that could be anything from like frozen kale to frozen cauliflower, and then 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. I love chia seeds because they kind of like up the thickness of the smoothie, and they also add fiber and protein and healthy fats. And then 1 to 2 cups of your liquid, so whether that be almond milk or orange juice. I usually start with a cup, see where that takes us, and then I will increase the liquid little by little as I go. The thing is that you don't want to add more liquid than you need, because that's going to give you a watered down smoothie, but you also don't want a smoothie that's so thick that your blender can't handle it, or that you have like essentially ice cream. So I usually find about 1.5 cups is a sweet spot, but like I said, start with a cup and then add a little bit more as you go along. To make smoothies like this, you definitely don't need a fancy blender. I invested in a Vitamix a long time ago, and it's one of the best investments that we've made in our house because we use it all the time to make sauces and soups and smoothies, and probably most of you know all about the Vitamix, and I don't need to sell you. But if you don't have a fancy high-powered blender, you can totally use a NutriBullet or one of the smaller blenders, and that's gonna get this moving as well. You just might need a little bit more liquid. All right, so let's get to this frozen broccoli smoothie situation. Like I promised, we're using almost all frozen ingredients, and in my linked post and smoothie guide I cover all kinds of different combinations that you can make. So like I said, I have a Vitamix, so it's pretty powerful. The only thing that would change if you don't have a Vitamix is that you would want to add a little bit more liquid from the get-go, because it just might need some extra to get going. So the amount of liquid that you end up needing is going to vary based on blender that you have. I am using a not frozen banana because I don't have any frozen right now, but frozen bananas will add a little bit more body. If you don't like bananas, you could use frozen avocado. I've also seen people use pumpkin. You could use frozen pineapple, though that will add a little bit of flavor, but it will add like a similar body and it will get nice and smooth. So those are alternatives. Today we're making a blueberry raspberry broccoli smoothie. You're not even going to taste the broccoli, but you are going to get the nutrition using my perfect fruit and vegetable smoothie formula. So what that looks like is 2 cups of frozen fruit, 1 cup of frozen vegetable if you're choosing, and definitely you wouldn't want to choose just any old vegetable, but broccoli, cauliflower, kale, spinach all do work pretty well. 1 to 2 cups of the almond milk or whatever you're using, and a tablespoon of chia seeds. So let's go ahead and do that. We have our banana in here, and it's just rough measurements. Blueberries, 1 cup of the raspberries. One thing I try to do with the combinations that I've shared, though all of them can be customized to your taste, one of the things that I try to do is just balance the flavors. So raspberries or strawberries are nice because they add a little bit of tartness, even if you're not using a citrus juice like orange juice. Raspberries, a cup of broccoli. I would not substitute fresh broccoli for frozen because frozen broccoli has been cooked a little bit, and then also the frozen will not add like a vegetable-y texture. It's going to act more like a frozen fruit in here. Cup of frozen broccoli. Don't let your family see. A tablespoon of chia seeds. I buy mine at Costco in more than you could probably eat in a year quantities. And then we're going to start with 1 cup, and I know I'll need more, probably at least 1.5 cups. But the amount that you're going to need varies on both your blender and the ingredients that you're using. You could also add in here like cashew butter, almond butter, maca powder, all kinds of fancy things that people are adding, MCT oil if you're looking to up your healthy fats. But we're keeping it super simple because these are things that you already have on hand or can easily buy at the store and keep in your freezer, refrigerator, and pantry. So maybe you could hear that, but there isn't quite enough liquid in here, even with using the tamper. Again, if you're using something like a NutriBullet, you might need even a little bit more liquid. I'm just going to up it by a little bit, so I'm not going to do a full extra cup, but I think I'm going to need about 1/2 cup. And something I learned in my first job working at Cold Stone, which I think makes me maybe a milkshake expert, not a smoothie expert, is that you want to get it, especially if you're using a Vitamix, that you want to get it so that it's like tornadoing in on itself. That's the perfect texture. So I think, whoa, 1/2 cup or whatever made it in there, maybe even a little less, is going to get us there. And you just want to try it out. Like I said, it's different every time. So I don't know if you guys could see that, but it definitely got this tornado status at the end with the help of a little bit of liquid and the tamper. If you are using something like a NutriBullet, then I would just continuously like stop and give it a little bit of a shake is how this is going to work. That's how you're going to get a great smoothie texture without having to add too much extra liquid. So let's show you what this looks like. You can see it's like nice and creamy. You can't even tell there's any broccoli in there if you hadn't seen it go in. Really tasty, nice smooth texture, not too sweet, a little bit of tartness from the raspberries, and I don't think I would know that there was broccoli in there if I hadn't seen myself put it in. I hope this was helpful to you as you try to boost your morning nutrition with smoothies. If you want to learn more, you can go to my blog post at Cooking with a Full Plate. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel where I'm coming in every week on Thursdays to give you all kinds of tips for eating healthier, even if you're super busy, especially all you busy parents out there. And you can grab my smoothie guide where I'm sharing a few different combinations of smoothies along with tips on embarking on a 30-day Boost Your Mornings with Smoothies challenge to up your nutrition with just one simple change in the mornings. Thanks so much for joining me.